Why these countries on this list? And I'll give you off the top of my head the easy answers. The easy answers are, oh, well, Barack Obama came up with this list, James. What you've got to realise is that Barack Obama came up with this list, and these countries, that's simply not true. Then you'll get the references to the 6-month ban that apparently Barack Obama put in place for Iraqi refugees. There's two things wrong with that. This is what you have to, I think, start doing now, is you have to start unpicking the whataboutery before it gets traction. It's probably too late because, of course, a lie is halfway around the world before the truth has got his trousers on. But immediately this ban came out, the usual suspects, the usual white supremacist news sites, I use the word news very loosely, were trying to argue that, oh, well, Israelis are banned from lots of Arab countries. That's exactly the same. Why does nobody ever complain about that? To which the answer, if I really need to explain, is simple, that some Arab countries, some Muslim countries, accept the United Nations judgment that Israel is guilty of war crimes and therefore take a decision to sanction that sovereign government in Israel with a restriction of travel for its citizens until that sovereign government falls into line with international law. It's that simple. Donald Trump isn't doing that. He is not saying these governments are breaking international law, therefore we will sanction their citizens until the government changes his tune. He's saying, oh yeah, these guys are dangerous. And I don't have to prove it. I don't want to prove it. I've got no proof, but I'm going to ban them anyway because I know my fans will love it. And he's right. Then you got what are the other whatabouteries that are doing the rounds this morning? We got the one about the 6-month ban on Iraqi refugees coming into America back in 2013 or 2011. Not true. Simply not true. Two things wrong with that observation. The first is that Barack Obama insisted that all Iraqis that had arrived in America were re-vetted after 2 of them were found to have been involved in terror attacks outside America, back in Iraq. Fingerprints were found on bomb debris, and therefore it was ordered by the Department for Homeland Security that they go back over the paperwork and find out whether or not there might be anybody else that had slipped through the proverbial cracks. This added to a massive backlog of applications. The criteria was temporarily higher than usual, and as a result of that, the number of Iraqis arriving in America went down. Didn't go down to 0, but it went down by a few thousand. They carried on arriving. The only news report you'll be able to find referring to this so-called 6-month ban on Iraqi refugees comes from a 2013 article published by ABC News. But of course, as soon as they find that article, the Trumpians go nuts. They find one article referring to one misunderstood piece of legislation and they hold that up as proof that Donald Trump hasn't done anything wrong. So where are we now? It's really, really easy to describe and explain. We're in a place now where, for Donald Trump supporters, the news is whatever they want it to be. Whatever they want it to be. For everybody else, the news is chilling. For everybody else, the news is absolutely terrifying. They've already burnt down a mosque in Texas. Oh, that's got nothing to do with Donald Trump. Hang on a minute. He's signed an executive order that effectively classes American Muslims from these 7 countries as second-class citizens. Once you actually formalize the notion of an Untermensch, an inferior human being, somebody who does not deserve the same rights under the law, the same protections, the same fundamental principles of universal human rights, you are a Nazi. Untermensch is their word. Someone who is less human than you. And I think on a very personal level, if I've made a mistake over the last couple of years, as we've tracked and predicted almost all of this, I think canary in the coal mine is the phrase that one interviewer used recently. The one thing I've missed is just presuming so naively that everybody gets repulsed by that. Everybody gets repulsed by the idea of a hierarchy of humanity. Because this little snowflake presumes that if you are a human, then a hierarchy of humanity will chill you to the core. A hierarchy of humanity. What do you think this ban does? Oh, it protects America. No, it doesn't. Because if it was really designed to do that, Saudi Arabia would be at the top of the list. It would still be bogus. It would still be largely unworkable, and it would still be mostly meaningless. But it wouldn't be fundamentally fraudulent if Saudi Arabia were on the list, or Egypt, or plenty of other countries where Mr. Trump has business interests. So what is it designed to do? It's easy. It's designed to create an atmosphere in which mosques get burnt down, already happened, and in which worshippers get shot, already happened in Canada. Although, because I'm a proper journalist, I tell you now, one French news agency has reported that one of the shooters One of the suspects arrested in response to the 6 killings in Quebec is reported to be of Tunisian or Moroccan origin. Now, I tell you that because it doesn't matter to me what ethnicity he is or what background he has. I don't consider a crime to be worse if the perpetrator was a Jew or a Muslim or a Christian. I consider a crime's badness to be determined by its impact and commission, not by the colour of the perpetrator. But this is an unfashionable view now. So look at all the people who suddenly care about women's rights when it's a brown man allegedly groping a white woman, but who cheer it to the rafters when it's a white president allegedly groping a succession of white women. That's the definition of racism. You react differently to the same action according to the colour of the person that did it. That's the definition of racism. Definition of Nazism, it's a little harder to pin down, but I'll give you a very, very good starting point. 3 human beings. Do they have equal, fundamental, universal value? No. I'm going to judge their value according to things over which they have no control, like the religion they were born into, the country they were born in, or the origins that they display. And that, my friends, is where we are.